So, what the hell happened to Remojo and how come we just disappeared like 2 years ago? Well, I'm Jack Jenkins. I'm the founder of Remojo, and I wanted to actually record, somewhat of a personal video message here to everyone who's subscribed to us on YouTube, on social media, and maybe used our app or any of our services or programs in the past, and actually address the fact like what the hell happened. We were going really strong and growing super fast. We were everywhere like 4 or 5 years ago, and then the last couple of years we just disappeared. So I actually wanted to record a personal message as the founder and share a bit of insight, share my story, and share what's going on and maybe what might happen in the future in terms of helping guys quit pornography. Because let's be honest, right now, we thought things were bad when I started Remojo 5 years ago in 2020. Uh, Things are much worse now. We're losing, guys. So let's get into it. So yeah, I started Remojo 5 years ago, and it blew up in a good way, right? So we had 600,000 installs, we had 2 million in investment, we had 25 staff, we had apps on every platform. We were growing super fast. We had a program that was 80% effective, at least for those guys who were committed enough to it to give us feedback on their success rates. And then, after all that, it was going super well. It was sick, honestly. And then after all that, it was sick, honestly. It was great. And then it blew up in a bad way, right? So we had this program which was very effective, but we were charging between $2.99 and $15 per month, while just maintaining and developing apps on all of those platforms cost us $60,000 a month. And then you had, software, marketing, advertising, staff, other costs, etc. And I think you can see where I'm going with this. The company was basically hemorrhaging money, totally unsustainable. And, you know, app users for an app to help guys quit pornography generally demand that you block pornography for them in a robust way. And, we tried sincerely to do that. We really, really did. But the problem is that's actually impossible. Any company or app or software that tells you that they can do that, they may be sincere in trying to do that, but you actually can't prevent someone from accessing pornography. It's totally impossible. It was impossible then, and in 2025, it's even more impossible now. You can just create your own with AI. You've got, you know, apps, social media. You can find substitutes or pornography directly on any of those things. Easy to find workarounds, easy to break. Find it on X, Reddit, etc. And then you've got a million substitutes and sort of things that are pretty close to pornography that you can engage with as well. So we played the whack-a-mole game with customer requests for about a year and a half, trying to plug loopholes and innovate on solutions. But of course, it takes guys like 10 minutes to find a new way they're motivated to access porn. And it might take us, 2 weeks to 6 weeks to actually engineer a solution to that, if we even can. And, users were savage. There were chargebacks, disputes, bombing our reviews, bombing our customer service, and just giving us a lot of negative feedback because of our inability to really do that. And eventually the team, when we had a large team, the team burned out, and I also burned out. It was seriously draining, and I burned out so badly that I probably lost about 18 months of my life. 6 months with sort of severe fatigue, and another 12 to 18 months to just kind of recover my mojo for work, and also some motivation to actually work on this problem and help guys with this problem. So I took the best part of a year plus off, and we just kind of left the Remojo apps and services programs as they were, and people could use them as they were, but we were no longer shipping updates, and we really went into hibernation as a company and as a team. And so I had pretty much given up on the Remojo company, to be totally honest with you. And yeah, I left the apps as they were, and we didn't ship any updates. Um, that said, I never lost conviction that this is a huge problem, and there's a massive global need for a solution, right? So, in my wanderings and my thoughts and reflections, as I tried other things, and I also worked on a book to help guys quit pornography and solve this problem in a different way. I never really gave up. It was always ideas were always percolating in the background in my head, and I just couldn't really let go, to be honest, of the idea that the world needs a solution. And when I started this Remojo company 5 years ago, we had to convince guys that pornography was a bad thing. To some extent, we had to make the argument that it was bad. I think now, 5 years later, it's obvious and sort of generally accepted by vast majority of guys, a lot of women, certainly anyone who's into personal development or has experienced any consequences now is, pretty much on board with the idea or fact that pornography is harmful and bad for you, bad for your life, bad for your growth, and your trajectory, etc. And so things have really moved on in terms of the conversation in that regard. But we're 5 years down the line, and I really don't feel like we've moved forward really, much further at all in terms of solutions. And so I'd been thinking about this. I'd been thinking about there must be a way to actually solve this problem and help guys find lasting freedom for good. And so I started work on something on some things. Right, I had the book, and I started, fleshing out a new program with a new framework for actually overcoming this problem and thinking about relaunching it essentially in a different way. Not relying on blockers, not relying on accountability services where you pay to have someone watching you, indefinitely you're going to do that. It's not going to work. That's not a solution in the medium to long term. And the final straw really came when I was watching some things on YouTube, and of course, because of my interests and background as the Remojo founder, I got recommended this video from the Andrew Huberman podcast, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and the title was "How to Quit Pornography," how to quit porn, and he was interviewing an addiction expert on the podcast, and obviously he's an expert in the dopamine system, reward system, behavior, neuroscience, habits, etc. Addictions. To some extent, he talks quite regularly about addictions and compulsive behavior. And he was interviewing another addiction expert, and they were talking about how to quit pornography. And this video was like 15 minutes long, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to check it out. It's been a while since I really looked at solutions and how people are solving this problem. What are they saying, right? We've been talking about this problem for a while now. What are they saying? So I watched the video, and we get to the end, 15 minutes in, and there are zero solutions offered. They talk about how difficult it is, what a complex problem it is, harms, consequences, effects, why it's so challenging, the fact that it's everywhere, etc. They talk around the problem. And, this video is called How to Quit Porn. Zero solutions, zero framework, no path that anyone can follow, no structure. And then I thought, what does the audience make of this? Did they get any value from this? So I go to the comments, and the comments are actually reflecting my thoughts that, guys like, so how do we quit? What's the answer? Give us a solution. And that was really the catalyst for me to seriously work on relaunching Remojo. So I've been cooking something up as rapidly as I can, and I've actually rewritten and created a brand new program. It has the best of everything from the old Remojo program, from our content and all the guests and guest coaches, etc. that we had. It takes the best of all of my personal work, both in my own life and with clients, and in group settings, and also one to one over the past 5 years, and also just years of additional deeper insight into self mastery, behavioral change, and sexual self mastery that I've acquired just by running Remojo for a few years, and also continuously growing and working on myself in all kinds of different ways. Right, so to be straight with you, this new program, it's my magnum opus. I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with the framework. It's big. It's very, very detailed. It gives you enough, actions, resources, lessons, systems, self-mastery systems that you can introduce in your life to, be able to either quit pornography rapidly if you've got a mild problem, or if it's going to take you months or maybe even a full year. There's enough in there to be able to do something every single day, just for 15 minutes for a full year. It's massive. And I've also stacked loads of quick wins at the beginning to help guys get as much momentum as possible as soon as possible. So, it really addresses the problem of quitting porn for good from all angles, both, immediately stopping and then also making it permanent, finding lasting freedom, rebuilding your life, and ultimately rebuilding your identity so that porn is no longer part of who you are anymore. And that's how you actually get to the point where you can be permanently free. So I hope that gives you a bit of insight into what the hell happened with Remojo and why we had a quite dramatic rise and fall as a startup and as a company. And I wanted to invite you personally to actually give this new Remojo program a try. If you're watching this, pretty soon after publication, there will be a 7-day free trial, and it's now delivered via School. So you can go to remojo.com, or you can go to school.com/Remojo to sign up as well. And there's also a link just because I'm working very much with every early member one-to-one, right, via DMs in the community feed, and also doing sessions every week, live calls included in the program, as well as a free one-to-one onboarding/coaching session with me. I'm not trying to sell you anything, just actually trying to figure out what your biggest challenges are and make sure that the program addresses those challenges and sticking points upfront. So, my goal is for this to be the solution that the world needs, because let's be honest, as a gender, guys, we are losing this battle collectively, right? Online pornography has been around for, let's say, best part of 2 decades now, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And guys have less respect for themselves than probably ever before. Women have definitely less respect for men than ever before, and we are losing, right? Whether you're secular, atheist, and we're just losing the battle for, mind, body, brain behavior, or whether you're a religious guy, Christian, Muslim, and you see this in terms of spiritual warfare, that battle's being lost as well, right? The body for heart and soul is being lost. We have more guys across the spectrum, no matter what your belief system or lifestyle. We have more guys addictively, compulsively, or habitually using pornography, and there's not really any structured path that guys can just follow to reliably get free. However, I think this new Remojo program provides exactly that and brings together all of the elements that you actually need to deliver upon that. So I sincerely hope, if this video is still relevant to you and you haven't quit pornography for good, and if it's still a problem, still something that you're motivated and committed to actually quitting, that you check the program out. Like I said, there's probably, if you're watching this early, a free trial. There may not be in the future, but right now there is. So click the link around this video, wherever you're seeing this, sign up, give it a try, get involved, get back on the mission. We need guys who actually are going to lead the way and drive this out of their life and quit. So I hope sincerely that you will join us in the new Remojo program. The company's back, the mission's back, I'm back. I'm committed to actually helping millions of guys quit this for good and providing a solution for the world that works reliably for the vast, vast majority of guys, regardless of belief system or how bad their habit is. So here's to your mastery and success. I hope that you don't need this, but if you do, please give it a try, and hopefully I will see you in there. Cheers. Also, if you're still interested in quitting pornography, there are going to be regular uploads to the YouTube channel, social media, etc. as well. If you're not ready to sign up to the program, or you just want additional kind of thoughts, essays, perspective, etc., additional tips that I will be posting on a regular basis. And as the company restarts, then of course, like and subscribe, and you will get much more of that. And I hope to interact with you in some way and hope to help you on your journey to a life of self mastery and ultimately success and thriving. So here's to the best, and I'm happy to be back on this path and hopefully see you inside the program. Cheers.